Welcome to this video that I call the Gather video. If you are watching on YouTube, welcome. This is a moment in the channel where I pop in here with some chat about an upcoming brand new class. So jump on in. Let's chat about the Gather portion of this class. All right, so by way of introduction, like I already alluded to, the Gather class belongs to one of the lessons inside of the class that I teach on my online class site. So in this video, I'm not going to be sharing a how-to. I'm not going to be giving a tutorial to make something. What I'm making available is the products, possibly collections, the supplies that I'm going to use, and a brand new class I'm calling Pocket Full of Layers. This is a mini album class. It's a mini class. It is not big like some of the book artistry classes that we've done recently, but it's an idea I had, so I want to jump in here with that. So as we go along here, we're just going to take a few moments to talk about the supplies that I used to make this next project happen. And here's a sneak peek of that project. You can tell it's a mini album. I also made one out of Summer Porch because we love that so much. And I will be sharing an insider look to that in another video. Today, I want to really focus on the gathering part because I am a big believer that when we're getting ready to make a project, class is a perfect opportunity that if we have our things all gathered together, if we start shopping from our own stash, if we pull the colors, the elements, the inks, the stamps, the rub-ons together, it just makes for that much more fun in our creative exercise. So that's the idea behind a Gather video. So let's get started. In this mini album class, we will be building on a chipboard foundation. For class, we'll need a 6x8 piece of chipboard. I have a 6x12 because this is one that I cut to make the sample that you can already see in the pictures on the sales page. So chipboard 6x8. Now, an optional item are almost always these banner dies from Paper Rose. They're Banner 1 metal dies, and you should be able to see on here, they're stitched. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sizes. I don't use them a great deal. As you can see, you can make your own bannered, notched element. But I love that stitched edge. I love it being very uniform. I love being able to layer them on top of one another. And you can kind of see, I did one here, but I didn't use the stitched one. I'm going to talk about this here in a minute because another die that I used in this class is called Postage. This is a brand new craft die from Arden Creative Studio. And I will tell you, this is not integral to the class whatsoever. It's actually part of the bonus lesson. But like you can see here, I've used several elements from that particular craft die. This back piece here, which is the bigger of the postage pieces, I use just a postage frame that you can make from this die set. And then there's these cute little tags with these fun little edges. So I really put it to work on that little tag there. I almost always highlight a singular collection when I am making a class project. In this class, I'm almost highly focused on the new Arden Creative Studio page starters. I did utilize the paper pad, which is a conglomeration of patterns. I stayed primarily with the greens and the blues, as you can kind of see in this little sneak peek here. I like to stay with the colorway, although you could use this with all the colorways. I'm kind of eager to make another one and focus on the pinks and like this salmon color here. The patterns in here are absolutely beautiful. They're very texture, grunge, shabby, vintage inspired, like pick an adjective, it probably works for this paper. So great paper pad. In this particular paper pad, you do receive 24 sheets, and there's 2 of each of the designs. There's also the solid paper pack, which I also utilized a great deal in this class too. You can see almost all the blues are gone. Most of the blues are gone, and I've cut into the greens. So this is used. So as you can see, if you are wanting to shop your own stash, which I highly and always encourage, I'm only using 6x8 paper. I am never going anything larger than a 6x8. So that's kind of fun. So maybe even have 6x8 pads that's hanging around that need some love. Okay, ephemera. Also from Page Starters, I'm using the ephemera pack. This is an outstanding ephemera pack. There are 117 die cut pieces that come from this. Super heavy on the labels, the smaller labels, these kind of labels. I call them labels. They might be tabs, but then there's also tabs. All right. Plenty of words, plenty of butterflies and florals. You can see I've cut into the green and the blue quite a bit. So there is the ephemera. There's also the laser cuts. Now the thing with, I'm going to say about the laser cuts, I really should have bought 2. I'm really enjoying these laser cuts, and this is the one pack that I had. And since this book is already made, you can see and I could have gone even heavier with the foliage, as you will see in class. I was a little conservative because I wanted to make sure I made it through the whole book with it, but I could have gone a little heavier on that. Great laser cut selection there. Now the thing that I did, oops, we got some rogue ephemera pieces going on here. Now the thing that I did by double in was the rub-on. And I'm going to tell you, don't tell anybody I said this, but you probably didn't have to, because the thing with the rub-on set, one package includes 2 of the same sheets. There's 4 sheets and you get 2 designs. Okay, so 2 sheets of design, 2 sheets of design. And we did utilize this pretty well. You're going to see too, as we go through the book, how much more of the sentiments you could seriously take advantage of. So if you had to ask me, and if you're looking to maybe make sure you have enough things, I'd double up on the laser cuts, but I think you could probably get away with having plenty of rub-ons. I'm going to throw in there real quick too. This again is also with the bonus portion of the class, and I use Distress Oxide and Weathered Wood quite a bit. This is actually part of the supplies, and it's the acrylic grid stamp block that I like to use so much. And then also mostly heavily in the bonus section was the stamp set, also by Arden Creative. It's called Botanical Clusters. It's absolutely beautiful. I used it in very random ways, but these clusters of text, of kind of mark making, distress, images, florals, butterflies, absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to make a suggestion here. It's not in the class. Don't think that this is something... Don't think that any of this is something you have to have. I get questions all the time, mostly about supplies or not able to find certain supplies because maybe they sell out or whatever. Shop your stash first. With stamps, although just brand new stamps continue to come out and they're just so beautiful and lovely. Very often we probably have stamps in our stash that are going to work just as well for the way that I'm going to use them. That being said, I want to make a plug for these 2 sets, Maker's Sentiment Clusters, as well as Postmarked Adventures. These are really, really fun. And I did utilize a couple of the mark making ones in the bonus, but just because I couldn't help myself and they were just so cool. But there's great sentiments in here as well as the postmarked adventures, great sentiment clusters. So I just had to make a plug for it because it's just some good stuff. All right, as we round out to the end of this gather video, I do want to talk about the actual tools. These are the tools that I'm using in this particular class. And you're going to see over and over again, I'm using a lot of the same tools. It's just the way I am. I like to make use of what I have. So a bone folder, because we are going to be making a book and we are going to be scoring and we are going to be folding. So bone folder is very important. A corner rounder. I have a little fun DIY embellishment lesson that we're going to be using that on. So a 3-way is most desired. You don't necessarily want a corner rounder for that, or you can just use your scissors and make your own little round. Craft glue. I've become a real big fan of the Sizzix quick drying express glue. It's really good. Craft pick. Always using a craft pick. Craft tweezers. But I use those quite a bit in this. A die cutting machine. We do have some die cutting going on, and I just use this little Scout here. As far as adhesives go, I'm always using the dot adhesive roller. I love to use that if I'm not sure where an element's going to go. It is temporary until you let it just sit for a while, and then it becomes permanent. So it is a great resource for embellishment building. And then all our favorite adhesive rolls. This is 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive because we are making a book. This gets utilized quite a bit. And then I have a couple of foam adhesive rolls. This is the 1 millimeter here. This is the 2 millimeter. Or, there's squares, there's dots, there's whatever you have. Okay, paper punch, 2 inch. It could be 1 inch. I like the 2 inch. It's just the one that I grab for. I do use this quite a bit. You're going to see we actually kind of start off with it right here as well. So yeah, 2 inches is kind of a good size. Scissors, we always need scissors. Tiny attacher. I'm always using a tiny attacher. And then here off to the side is the trim and scoreboard. I call it a trim and scoreboard, but it is, you can score on this. So we are cutting some, but we are also scoring. And then always a workspace mat. I just like to be able to work on something I can cut on if I need to. I like to have the grids if I need to measure against something. It's got a ruler on the edges that you can't see, so I'm just always working on the workspace mat. All right, that's it for the gather portion of this class, and I'll see you in the classroom.